Okay, I know this is very exciting evening. I'd like to welcome everyone and call this special meeting of the Board of Ed to order at 5:45. And our purpose is to administer the oath of office to our board members and anybody else who needs to be sworn in. And we have our town clerk here, Betsy McCousher, who will, I'll turn it over to so that she can call people up and do the swearing in.
So do you, hello.
Hi.
Do you want to do this individually or at once? I don't see a huge conglomerate here, so I could just call you all up and you could come up and we can stand here. You know, as a matter of fact, I'm supposed to do everyone, but there you go. You're ready. Raise your right hand. And you solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States, Constitution of the State of Connecticut, the Groton Town Charter where applies, and the Board of Education rules and procedures to the best of your ability.
I do.
Excellent, thank you. And you are now. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations.
So board members, you can join us up at this table.
I'm excited. Wow. Yeah, you dance off camera. My government.
I got cameras everywhere.
Oh, you stop.
I can take the time.
Now it's got those.
The next meeting doesn't start for about 10 minutes. So
I left my key.
I read my Robert's rule. So I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education at 6:01. And I see that we have a couple board members out on Zoom, Rita Volkman and Beverly Washington. And then we have our new board members that have just been sworn in and sitting around the table. So I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance and ask Isaiah Anderson, our student rep, to lead us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And with that, we're going to have the election of board officers, and Betsy McCousher has agreed to stay so she can do the swearing in of them. So I guess I will leave it to the board to make those suggestions.
Do you want nominations?
Nominations, yes.
I have a nomination. Kim or Susan, can you recognize me?
Liz has just put up her hand, and then you'll be recognized right after Liz.
And that's fine.
I nominate Kim Shepherdson Watson for chair for 1 year. I'll second that. Katrina Fitzgerald seconds.
And Rita?
No, that's exactly what I was gonna do.
Okay, so
So
you'll make
all
it
set.
a third. All right. And so now I think we take the vote.
No, you need to close, just see if there's any other nominations.
Or are
on the
there any
floor.
other nominations on the floor?
Then you can close the nominations.
So I will close the nominations. Thank you for your help.
I move.
I move to close the nominations, and then all in favor.
Is there a
Aye.
second
Yeah, there was a second and a third.
Okay. for that one? No? Okay.
Anyone opposed? Anybody abstain?
I abstain.
All right, so that means it passes, and we will move on to the swearing in.
Oh. I get sworn.
You solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, the Groton Town Charter, and bylaws of the Groton Board of Education to the best of your ability. I do. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, folks. Let's get to work.
What about my?
And then what about? Yep.
I got it, folks, I promise. All right, so now I'm going to open nominations for the vice chair. Andrea. want to nominate Katrina Fitzgerald.
Second.
I have a second from that. Are there other nominations? Hearing none.
Oh, I move we close nominations.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I need someone to help me on that. Okay, so there is a motion on the floor to close nominations. Do I have a second to that?
Okay.
All right, all those in favor of Katrina Fitzgerald for vice.
Oh, closing the nomination.
Oh.
Yeah, is it done? Isn't it done? It's not done all at once.
Okay,
Close the
so,
nominations, then we hold a vote.
okay, so,
I think she winds up being it. but-
all right, so I've gotten the first and second for closing of the nominations.
Right.
Now, I just did a run-on sentence,
That's
so, and so now all those in favor of
Aye.
Closing
Aye.
nominations.
closing nomination, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, abstain.
I abstain, Bev Washington.
Okay, great. So that vote has carried to close nominations. All those in favor of Katrina Fitzgerald as per the vice chair of the Board of Ed, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstain?
I abstain, Bev Washington.
You are the vice chair.
Thank you.
Yay. All right, and my understanding, Superintendent Austin, is that there is no visitors or delegations.
That's correct.
Okay, so we're gonna be moving on to the comments section of the agenda. And this is the portion of the agenda where the board welcomes comments from citizens. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or less, and citizens should possible submit written comments. And presentation should be related to matters pertinent to Groton. Board members will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentation and cannot respond during the comments of citizens portion of the board meeting. Is there any, I see that there's something in the chat, but is that?
I don't think the chat is pertinent.
Okay. So is there anyone that is here that would like to address the board? All right, hearing none, we'll move on, and we're going to be moving on to the student representative report. Before, Isaiah, you chat, I was able to get a hold of by email both Allison and Isaiah. Allison is just saying that she's, I guess the cheerleaders, it's competition season, and she's very involved in that, and so she's having a lot of time where it's difficult for her, and so, but she cannot wait to be back here at the meeting, so I just wanted to let you know that.
I think you two communicate too.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's good. So Isaiah Anderson, tell us a little bit about what's happening at the high school.
Perfect. So right about now, our school is beginning to prepare for winter sports. And I know swimming has started practicing. Fencing already started. The girls' basketball team has their first game tomorrow night at home. And the boys' basketball team has their first game Saturday at NFA. And besides that, the other interesting thing is that our junior class is doing a fundraiser for vice principal this Friday, where he's getting taped to the wall during all lunch breaks. I don't know if anyone here remembers when Principal Keller was taped to the
Oh,
wall
yeah.
2 years ago. And we're doing the same thing with Principal or Vice Principal Brown this Friday.
Oh, okay, so it's Matt Brown who gets it, not Adam Diskin.
Yes, Mr. Brown.
All right.
Isaiah?
Yes.
Quick question for you. And I don't know the answer to this, I'm gonna ask you. Wrestling is not happening this year due to COVID?
Oh, wrestling is happening.
It is happening.
They have their first, thank you for reminding me.
That's fine.
They have their first match this Wednesday at Bacon Academy.
At Bacon.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Isaiah, thank you. We're going to move on to the superintendent and administration reports.
So the first thing I really wanted to talk to you about is school news. And I've talked a lot about our walkthroughs. As a matter of fact, Dr. Phil Piazza and I were able to get through all 7 of our schools in the past couple weeks. And we do that actually each month, and we do these walkthroughs. You might remember where Dr. Grenier would also do them. And I would invite, especially our new board members, but even any of our board members, to do a walkthrough with us. I can actually send out some dates, so if that works for you, I would love to be able to get you into some of our new schools and walk you through. And a picture is worth 1,000 words when you're able to go. And I think I wrote about it in board notes, and see kids truly engaged in their learning, where they don't even come up to see that there's visitors in the classroom. One thing Phil said is, boy, you can tell these kids are used to having people in and out of their classrooms. They're very comfortable. They're very comfortable about sharing what they're working on. When we go into Fitch, sometimes, we'll just watch the conversation happen if they're circling up and talking to one another, if they're writing and doing, research, and they'll be able to explain what they're doing. We saw a lot of reading and writing workshops. So kids are really reading a lot, whether it's in a kindergarten, first grade class, or whether it's in high school. And we have these libraries now, classroom libraries, where kids have more choice. And so they're not just 4 books being studied. You might have some classics, but you might also have like other books that you can choose from, and then talk about how the themes might relate, and have a lot of real good in-depth conversation. The writer's workshop is just that. It's a process writing, and then there's a whole editing and revision process, so that kids can really know that in order to publish a piece, you have to share your ideas, but you also have to write it so your reader understands, and write it with a purpose. So that's happening. We saw some volume lessons where they were building boxes in 5th grade. And I said to the kids, this is what I used to teach as a middle school math teacher. So they were looking at all different kinds of prisms, and rectangular prisms, triangular, and figuring out volume. So we also went into kindergarten. I was able to read to a kindergarten class. They're learning about the gift of giving, and things that you give that don't come wrapped in a package. So you can give a friend a smile. You can share something with a friend or take turns. And the book that I brought was a Pete the Cat, and it was the gift of kindness, how you can share being kind. What does that look like? So, that was always fun, and I leave a book behind for the class to enjoy. So we really did have some good walkthroughs. We also saw in the middle school, I've described how we're giving those interim assessment blocks from the SBAC periodically. And so we'll have some data to share with you about how that's going in all of our tested grades, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, and 8. And the teacher uses those to inform instruction, so they can see this one happened to be editing and revising and writing. So they're able to pick up where are the weak areas that kids are having, what instruction needs to occur, so that they can go back. So kids are really very ready when they go to take the state assessment. And it really works in nicely because it really dovetails with our curriculum and instruction. So kind of one in the same, because we base all of our curriculum on the Connecticut core standards, which are being assessed by the SBAC. So that's a little bit about, walkthrough in the schools. Certainly, our time is being spent too monitoring buses coming in and out, and making sure that that's going a little bit better while we're there. And, working with the principals on issues they may be, experiencing, and problem solving with them. So did you have anything else that we saw?
I was just gonna say, I think it's been a great practice since I've been here, just to get into the schools, to give that time to the principals to bounce things off of us, or to ask us questions, and to stay in touch with them, to be seen around the building. And you were mentioning the kids being so comfortable, and I was so impressed. Not only do they have answers for us when we ask them questions, but they're proactive in wanting to show us what they're doing.
Yeah, or share their piece of writing, or read to us.
So they're very comfortable with adults in
Yeah.
the room, and with sharing what they're learning, and they're anxious in their, they really want to show off. So
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive to see. And that's the the best part of our job, I think, is having those opportunities to get to the schools and see everything.
And
in
I would
action.
say even in the hallways, when kids are walking back and forth from in Fitch or at Groton Middle School, it's a little noisier at Groton Middle School. You guys are a little older, but they walk with such intention and purpose and, you know, have time to say hi to each other, check an email. But you never feel like people are going too fast or going to run you over. You can stand right there in the hallway and just say hi to the kids. And, you know, it's just a real comfortable transition, I feel, as an adult. You know, because there are some places that it's like chaos, but this is not that way at all. So it's really well run and the kids are really well behaved in those hallways most of the time. There have been some situations where we've had to deal with, you know, and I think I shared that in the board too, that we definitely are looking for proactive measures. I'm feeling like a mental health summit needs to happen again, but something that really about security with IT. And so Clint Kennedy is working with me and I'll be briefing you more about that and encouraging board members to help me with this. So that will be coming. And then the DEI, Jamal Davis is our DEI coordinator, as you know, and he is unavailable because he's working on his own 93 to become a superintendent. So he's doing his next bit of work. So I said I would be happy to fill in, and we met with him just recently to kind of review the work. A couple weeks ago, he had a DEI committee. He has those. I would say the book talks are really on a very regular basis, sometimes, you know, once every other week. And then the actual DEI full committees are about 4 times a year. And so they work on everything from finding the right professional development for folks to pick the books that we've been reading. So the last one has been culturally responsive teaching in the brain and how the brain works for kids, and you know how we can really connect with them so that they feel safe and they feel like their needs are met, you know, with the curriculum that we're delivering. And then another aspect of DEI is also outreach for families and to get families more engaged. So they're working on that now. And that's another thing I know the board is very interested in as well. The number one thing is that we want to hear student voice. So I think I had mentioned that I've invited Dr. Grenier back to do more than words. He had been doing more than words during his whole tenure here when he was in Ledyard, and it all came from an event that happened in Ledyard that was really a racially charged event, and he brought the kids together to talk it out. So he's done the same thing here. Carmita Hodge runs the Black Student Union, and she sometimes works with Carly Rising, who's the teacher coordinator for the project. We had a team building situation that happened at one of the parks back in the fall, and we're planning the next one for this Friday. But that happens about 4 times, 5 times a year with the kids. But this time we're really going to open up the questions. So tell us how everybody's doing. Tell us from your perspective as a student, what it's like coming back to what we thought was going to be better than normal, but still we're faced with COVID, and still we're having to quarantine kids, and still it's not like normal, you know? So I really want to hear from the kids, because I think that's, you know, and that's why we have, you know, a student rep on our board, because they really tell us like it is. So I will get back to you on that and, you know, let you know what they've said and what are our next steps. There's also a DEI committee at the town and in the city. And I just talked to John Burt today, and I said it would be really great if a couple times a year, all the DEI committees came together and, you know, thought of some kind of an action step that they could do together. So I will let you know. And he thought that was a good idea. So I'll let you know when that happens. And the third thing that we wanted to talk about, was the calendar. And we always love calendar time, and it kind of comes back to us periodically. But what we did this year was I took the regional calendar from Learn and I examined it closely. The past couple of years, we've had to come in after Labor Day, which puts us way late. at the end of the year. And, praying for no snow days, but I'm sure we'll have one or two. And we're already at the third week. So in this calendar, Learn actually suggests starting the week of the 25th with students. And we're going to start our have our convocation on the 25th with PD on the 26th and 29th. And actually start school on the 30th with 1st to 12th graders. So that's what's being proposed. It's really up to you to decide. This way, we'll be able to do our screenings for preschool, pre-K, transition K and K when the 1st through 12th graders come in, and then they'll start right after Labor Day on September 6th. We also, in this calendar, we have the TLI days that we've had in the past, very similarly, I think like the 3rd or 4th week of several months, not including, I think, well, we took it out of November and put it in December because November we didn't have enough days, instructional time, so we moved it. And the regional calendar has a regional workshop so that our teachers who are in PE, art, music can work with other districts in those areas. And it's very rewarding for them to do that networking. So that takes place in November and also again in March. And this will really help us to finalize end school on the 12th of June. Now that's pretty early. We haven't had that opportunity, but of course with snow days, it could put us to a 16th, June 16th. But I feel like at least I have a little wiggle room. So I'm proposing not to wait till after Labor Day to get us started really the week of August 25th with the PD and the convocation. And then have the kids start that very next week, which is August 30th. So, it's up to you all to discuss, ask questions, but that's the framework of why this is proposed, to kind of coordinate with Learn, to get us into school before Labor Day, and also to make sure that we end school earlier in June than we have been. Any discussion?
I mean, we're going to be talking about
questions?
this. I mean, this is
Okay.
going to come up to a vote
Right.
later on in the meeting.
So would you rather discuss it or ask questions then?
You can ask questions now.
I have questions.
Go ahead, Rita.
If you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
I have quite a few questions about this calendar. My first question, which I feel is the most important, is that we should no longer distinguish like Columbus Day, Veterans Day, and all these other, they should just be holiday or school holiday. I don't think, I've looked at other school calendars and I talked about it with other people that Learn, and they are no longer setting a title to those days. It's just a holiday, like a school holiday. Because really Columbus Day is, I think, going to be changed to Indigenous People Day, and it just sort of cuts out a lot of that. So if that could possibly happen.
Okay.
And also instead of President's Day, it should be winter recess, just like we have spring recess in April, and not use President's Day either. These are just my suggestions from studying this calendar.
Thank you.
I also would like to not start so late. And I know August is important, but I would like to start on a day where the children go 3 days to school one week, 4 days the next, 5 the week after. So they sort of gradually ease into it. So whether or not we can set that up, I also would like to find one day, hopefully Veterans Day, that we could have school and finish school then instead on the 9th. So graduation could be on the 15th. So many of our surrounding towns say it's so much more rewarding to have Veterans Day when the students are in school and have things happening. Otherwise, we do it all the day before, it takes another day, and then they have a day off. I think it would be much better to have it. I know we're a military district. There are other ones that are military districts, but I think that it would be more fulfilling and rewarding for our students if we really did it on Veterans Day. And I have actually talked to some veterans and they're fine with it. So I hope we can discuss this in detail. And I'm also for somehow, I don't even mind if we are extended in the year, but I really feel we almost need a winter break. Especially with COVID this year, putting those 3 days in so you have a week off from school as we have in the past. And I had another question about TLI days. Is it in the contract that we have to have one a month?
No,
It's
we
not.
don't have one a month. We had 8 last year or this past year.
Well, I'm counting one a month. Maybe I'm counting wrong.
So
Maybe you don't have one in June, but you
I-
have one every other day, every
No, we
other
don't.
month.
we don't have them in November for this proposed calendar.
But you put it in December.
Yeah, so those are 2 months.
So
out.
I would like to not have it in December and November because it's so broken up. I mean, they're getting back to school. They're in school a week, then they have off, a 4-day week, then a 5-day week, and then it's a 4-day week, and then Christmas, and then vacation.
So these have been instrumental in providing professional learning and department meetings and collaborative work for teachers and for paras. So we
I
really
understand that, but
got
I
very
just
positive
feel that,
feedback from it.
to me, the students are losing too much time. They need time to prepare for their exams in December and January. I just think that it's, and the high school has off Tuesday afternoons. They get out an extra
No, they don't.
period then.
They do not have that anymore.
Not at all.
Not at all. Just the TLI days like everybody else.
Okay, so that's one positive.
Right.
But I just feel that we need to keep our students in school as much as possible. And I just don't see that with this calendar. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Rita. Beverly, I see that you have your hand raised.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Susan, can you tell me what TLI days are?
Yes, those are what we call teaching learning initiative days. So the teachers on that Tuesday are contracted to stay in school an extra hour than their normal time. And then that with the early release provides 3 hours of professional learning, which has been extremely valuable. And it has caused our teachers to do a lot of collaborative planning together with the MYP, the middle years program. They've been able to meet as departments. We now have coordinators 6 through 12 in the areas of language arts, humanities, and also STEM. So they're able to meet grades 6 through 12 in those different disciplines and, and science. So that has been really very rewarding to be able to bring, to really truly make the middle school and high school a campus. So, and then at the elementary, elementary teachers teach all subjects. So they're keeping up with, the reading and writing workshop, the math, and they're receiving ongoing professional learning. So, and I think that's what we give our kids. We give them really highly qualified teachers who are continuous learners. So we've seen value in that, in those days. And we're getting 3 full hours because of the teacher's contracted time to stay the extra hour.
Thank you, Susan. What time do the kids get out on those days?
So they get out different times. I know with elementary, it's like 1:30 when they normally get out at 3:30. So you probably see a 2-hour differential. It's not like a half day. It's not like lunchtime. It's a little after that. So they have
What about middle school and high school? What time do they get out?
same thing, 2 hours earlier than their
Okay.
normal release time. So they get basically 4 hours in school and then the 2 hours they go home for.
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
Liz, I saw your hand and then Katrina.
Exactly. I don't have a mic down here, so you want me to move?
Can you pass it over, Katrina? Let's do testing.
Okay, testing. Can you hear me, Rita?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. I want to also support the idea that I don't think we go to school early enough. I think we're starting too late. As I've sent in my email, because you asked for opinions. I really think personally, we need to have the teachers having their convocation, their 2 days should be the Monday and Tuesday of the week, August 22nd and 23rd. And then we get kids in on the 24th. So that at least we're there. A lot of schools in the country that have, and I'm speaking from what I know, and I'm not a trained elementary school teacher, and I just want you to understand that the IB and the AP testing start at most times the end of April. When I was doing the IB testing, our first tests were April 28th. And the last test was right before Memorial Day. So that's a full month. And AP is very intense during the month of May. And I just believe, and I strongly believe, that we really should have our kids starting. I would like to see the middle of the month, around the 15th of August, but I know that's not going to fly. But I do believe we could have the kids being there at the 24th, 25th, and 26th. Teachers being there the Monday and the Tuesday. I just think we need to give our kids the best possible opportunities for in-class contact time and instruction. And I believe that would help.
Thank you, Liz. Katrina.
What is the drop dead date for us to approve?
We've taken time before.
Yeah.
To approve it. Yeah.
I'm really okay for
Yeah.
it to be tabled once we
Yeah.
get to that point,
Yeah.
if we don't have all the answers that we don't have, like, this could be something that we could bring up again in January.
Could we put it on a committee of the whole agenda to have a more detailed discussion?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we go ahead and do that, Liz, I know that you've made your point very, very clear, but if you have other questions or whatever that we need to get prepped for, it would be helpful for Susan and her staff to get that information. So when we get to that, the that part of the agenda, we can vote just to table that.
I just had a question for Rita. Rita, what other calendars I've looked at some, and I'm just wondering what you've looked at.
Who we spoke to at the Learn meeting the other day?
No, you said that you had looked at other calendars.
Yes.
What other school systems have, like, they don't have Columbus Day identified and Veterans Day and I see that.
Old Lyme, East Lyme, Learn is changing to that. There were quite a few that decided that they were just going to use the word school holiday as opposed to identifying exactly what the holiday is.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else that has questions or comments about the calendar?
I have a question, Kim.
Absolutely, Beth.
Okay. Susan, I hear what Liz is saying about the IB and AP testing. Could you send me some information about how our students are doing with those tests, what the test results are, and if they're having difficulty passing those tests, that we need to move the starting date of the school start time up?
That's an excellent suggestion, and I think I would love to be able to bring it to the COW when you guys are having that discussion, because when Liz first brought this to my attention, I was thinking beyond IB and AP. My idea is that all kids are learning and all kids are responsible and have what we call the SBAC, Smarter Balanced Assessment, which is based on these Connecticut core standards. And all of our kids need to be ready, but it's not just getting ready for a test. They really need to have the depth of understanding and learning throughout the year. And like anything, if you tried to do a crash course, that doesn't usually stick like glue. That usually comes and goes. So I think the idea with AP, IB, or Smarter Balance, or the NGSS Science, is that we want kids to really make meaning of this and hold on to it. So the next time they go learn something new, they can take what they learned to learn more. So I would love to be able to have a COW where we actually dig into some data, because we're collecting it, and share with you guys. So thank you for that suggestion.
And
Also, if you do go ahead with changing the start date to earlier, are you going to reach out to parents and ask them how they feel about that? Because, it's still summertime for little kids. It might
Right.
work out great for high school kids, but you're
Right.
shortening the summer for little kids that like to run around and burn energy, go to the beach. The beaches are still open. And,
And
So
we're
I-
going late this year too, Bev, so I'm kind of concerned because this year we're already late out of the gate. And if there are snow days on top of it, we could be at the end of June before we get out. And we're doing so much fun enrichment and summer programs for kids that I want the kids involved in those too, because they're just exciting ways to learn. And so you're right, there's a lot going on. I think it would be good to kind of see what other people are thinking too. This is closely aligned to the actual Learn Regional calendar. It's only starting a day after they actually start with the kids. So they start on the 29th, first day of school. We start the 30th, first day of school. And they end a day before. And it really follows almost all of their holidays. So that, and that's done on purpose. So our teachers, if they don't live in the district, that they can be home with their kids and vice versa. So, that's why we created it this way, or we proposed it this way.
Andrew?
Susan, if you could get us the percentages of students who are in AP and IE. That would be helpful.
So once again, Bev and Andrew, you both have asked for data. Could that data be given to you with everyone in this COW?
Yes.
I'll give it to you ahead of time, so you can look at it before the COW.
okay, thank you, Susan.
All right.
All right. So the assistant superintendent report.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the new board members. I will try to give you the Cliff Notes version of what we're doing with curriculum instruction. And it is a lot, but I'll try to limit my comments. But basically, the work we're doing obviously is focused towards our mission statement, which of course is teaching and learning. So it's what we're all about. Our Curriculum and Instruction Council meets 4 times a year. It's made up of teachers, administrators, and board members. It's really amazing that we do have representation because it is voluntary. I put out a survey to teachers and we have representation from all buildings, all levels, which is obviously an important part of the committee's work. The goals all stem directly from the district strategic plan, which was Dr. Grenier and Susan's work. That was a 5-year span, which we're currently in the final year. So we'll be working on our next strategic plan, where the first part of that plan was to provide a dynamic, rigorous curriculum. So we believe that the curriculum is a live document. It should be constantly changing and improving as we go. So the most curriculum work is done over the summer, but some are done on these TLI days when departments have a chance to meet as well. The Board of Ed Curriculum Subcommittee also does a lot of work with reviewing any new curriculum or major curriculum revisions. And I've been working with Dr. Ackerman and Liz Porter on that this year. The curriculum dashboard, which some of you I know that's available to both our teachers and the public, 2 different dashboards. That's available online. It's an ongoing project for me to clean it up, to update it, and to fill in the different areas where documents might be missing, because we want to have a document for every class that's taught in Groton Public Schools. We do believe that every teacher should have access to that curriculum. It's a pretty comprehensive site if you've tried to navigate it. The teacher side of it not only has curriculum maps, it has pacing guides, the assessment calendars and all that. Where the parent side is a little simpler, where it just has the curriculum maps. Because again, we believe that the parents and the adults in our community should have access to know what their kids are learning on in any given class. So those are some ongoing projects that fall under curriculum instruction. Of course, all the work, as we move forward, is being looked at through an equity lens. Where the Curriculum Instruction Council works closely. All the committees I've noticed in district have worked closely together, but the DEI work will be woven into everything. So although this year we're doing more reflection on our own teaching and our own classrooms, moving forward with the work, we'll be looking at our curriculum through an equity lens. So that'll be a majority of the work.
And our data.
And our data. We're definitely using data to look at some of the things that were requested tonight from board members, or things that are already in motion, looking at enrollments and seeing how that's broken down in a number of different ways, by gender, by race, free, reduced lunch, all that. So we will continue to share that data with the Board of Ed. Another part of the district strategic plan talks about ensuring effective and engaging instruction. We've already talked a little bit about the TLI and the PD days, which are so important. We believe that teachers should always be striving to get better, and that's always our message to teachers, always trying to get better. We have a number of teachers and administrators who are continuing their own education personally, but we want to provide those opportunities for them to grow as teachers consistently. So we do appreciate those days. This year and I guess last year too, a majority of those days are set aside for building goals and teacher individual goals. In the past, and what we will do towards the future, is provide more district initiatives as well. But because of the pandemic and the fact that teachers have been separated so much over the last couple of years, we've given them that time to reconnect and to build those relationships that are necessary to move the work forward. And finally, to provide excellent learning environments. Part of the work I'm doing now with Dr. Kennedy and Tom Lonsdale is to look at our instructional software. A number of purchases were made to accommodate the distance learning, and now we're weeding through that now as we're moving back in to see what is necessary to continue in the classroom. We don't want to go back to what it was. We want to continue. We want to find those things that were working and continue to do that and continue to improve it. Especially with our new buildings, we have a lot more technology at our fingertips, and our children do as well. So we want to continue to improve that and provide them the best technology and the best software to achieve their goals, both in person and if we should have to ever go virtual again. Finally, in the last meeting for curriculum instruction, we looked at each building's SRBI process. Now that's scientific research-based interventions. It has had a number of different names over the years. It was RTI for a while, response to intervention. And I even heard now rumors that it's changing again to multi-tiered systems of support. So you might hear MTSS in the future. But I do think that's a nice descriptor as well, because basically what we're looking at is how each building is accommodating its students and their needs. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Tier 1 being the stuff that's happening in the classroom. We provided some excellent professional development earlier this year, and it's ongoing for teachers as we've moved back into the classroom. And again, kids are assimilating back into the classroom, and as we've heard, some of their behaviors are, they're getting used to being back and socializing again. So we put some extra work into teachers strengthening their efforts in Tier 1 instruction, providing those supports to their students right in their classroom. We've trained a number of teachers in each building, and they are used as support for those teachers who might be struggling with a learner or two in their room. But what was great to see at this last meeting, we had everybody share out sort of the processes in each building. And what I feared was that we were all over the place. Every building was kind of doing its own thing. And what I was really happy to hear in these conversations were that the processes in each building are exactly the same in terms of identifying, what they're using to identify students. The different, we have our great math interventionists and literacy interventionists to work with kids to identify those that can be helped in the classroom with some support, or those that might have to be pulled out and work with individual teachers and interventionists. We're working on looking at the paperwork that we're using to make sure the documents are all the same in all the buildings, because at some point we have 5 buildings now going into one middle school, and we don't want it to be difficult for the middle school to receive all that work. We want the continuum of services to really be smooth as the children move from elementary to middle to high school. So that will be the next thing that we look at. But that's a process that's it's very strong in the district as I learn more about it. And it's just about streamlining it and making sure that we keep the services going for the students who need it, because more and more students are needing our support.
Especially
we're
with
finding.
COVID. So we also we want all students to have their core curriculum, their class curriculum, but sometimes kids need another intervention period beyond that. So, you know, and what does that look like for tier 2 and tier 3?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and we can talk about that at future meetings because it is interesting, the different programs that are available at each individual school. And then I just wanted to mention the other groups that really support teaching and learning in the district. We have the Teaching and Learning Collaborative, which is, again, a combination of teachers and administration, which our focus is mostly on professional development. Again, I said this year it's more building based because we want the teachers to be working together. But as we move forward and start looking to achieve some district initiatives, we work together to plan that out. And then I mentioned the Curriculum Board of Ed Subcommittee, which again, I've been working with Liz and Andrea on, and maybe some of you as we move forward. But that's a great way for us to connect and to look at the work that's being done in the new classes that are coming in, or any classes that we are revising, making major revisions on, which have to be approved by the board. So again, those are the many different ways that we're addressing teaching and learning in the district, and the different projects that I'm personally working on, along with Susan and the principals and other administrators. I'm sure we'll have many opportunities to connect and to talk in further detail, but that's sort of a not so brief synopsis.
I know I've joked about this in the past, but I really think it would be great if we could create sort of in honor of our former board member, Mary Kelly, we need a lexicon of educational jargon. You know, people are always asking, what is CTL? What is SRBI? Now we have MTSS. You know, for board members and for parents, you know, something we can just put on the website and just, because there's an alphabet soup out there that I know, you know, you folks are very familiar with, but we don't deal with it every day, and sometimes we forget what's being referred to. So
I found a couple good finds from
Okay.
CABE. I asked for their entire documentation for new, you know, board members.
Mhm.
But there were some that I think we can all use, so I had Joyce order them, and one was a glossary of terms, educational terms. Now, we could also personalize that, go through that book and then say, what are some of the terms we use?
Right.
And help you out with that, but at least it's a start. I was so thrilled to find that, and then a little book on Robert's rules and a couple other little CABE documents, so we've talked about that a lot, but you're right. I try in my board notes to spell it all out and then give you the acronym, so that you're not saying, oh, what is she talking about now?
Right.
But I'll continue to do that, and we will when we
Yeah,
present.
but we don't have to invent the wheel. You
No,
know,
but
it's there. We
it's
just
been
have to
there.
sort of customize it to.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
I think a simple solution would be, at least for documents that are going to be made available to the public, is that the first use of any acronym or any abbreviation is prefaced by the full thing.
Yes, that's right.
And ABCD, and thereon after use just
Right.
ABCD, but just it's the AP style book for a reason.
Yeah, that's what we typically do. But I think that when we're in a meeting, sometimes we don't say the whole thing, or we'll use the acronym, and that sometimes causes people to say, okay, what are they talking about? So you're right. I think that's one way to do it. And then additionally, if we could have a little cheat sheet or a little booklet, that might help too. So,
So Ken, you are here. You are here. Thank you.
thank you, Phil.
You're welcome.
I guess I will take the microphone. Oh, no, it doesn't go that far. You know what? I will mount it. Very good.
Testing.
It doesn't have to be that close. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. All right. You want me to go or? Okay, so I'm here to go over attachment number 1. This is our object code summary. I can put it up there, or I know that in the past we kind of done full.
This is the
Yeah,
one.
that one. So an object code summary, object codes are basically categories of spending. For instance, object code 101 is teacher salaries. And so I thought maybe I'd go over this report maybe in a little bit more detail so that some of the newer members or even some of our existing members can understand what the structure is. It's really 3 different reports that all add up to the same thing. The first page is the first report, and it's just a summary of the object code. So it's a summary of all of our spending categories. And we have a number of columns. The first column, FY22 budget, is that was what was approved by the board and the town. And then the next column is expenditures. These are funds that have gone out the door, whether it's through payroll, whether it's through an AP check, but these are funds that have been expended. Encumbered, these are amounts that have been put aside for. It could be for payroll, for our contracts, could be for purchase orders, but we put it aside because we know we're going to spend those funds. And then FY22 actual is the combination of those two, expenditure and encumbrances. And then the remaining balance is really just it's the difference between the budget minus the actual. Next column is a percentage. That's just a percentage of the budget. And then the second to last column, FY22 estimate, that is an estimate based upon my review of where I think all these numbers are going to end up. And then the final column is whether we're over or under budget. Under budget being a positive number, over budget being a negative or in parentheses. And so that, like I said, the first page is just a summary of that. And then pages, let's see, 2-2 through 2-5 are the same numbers. It's just in a little more detail. It breaks down some of the more summarized numbers into smaller chunks. You'll notice, I'll pick on the teachers again, line 54, classroom teachers, object code 101 and 151. So that's what we have budgeted, spent, encumbered, and where we think that's going to end up at the end of the year on that line. So that's pages 2-2 through 2-5. And then the final page is the same numbers. Once again, it's just presented in a different format. This is a function. So where are we spending it? So what programs are we supporting? And so like function 1102 is art. So this is art at the secondary level. And so this is what has been budgeted, expended, encumbered, and where we think that's going to end up at the end of the year. So it's the same numbers presented in three different ways.
And this is the same format that we'll be presenting in your budget books, which you'll get before the holidays. So for the 23, the proposed budget. So, and we can, even if you needed to meet with Ken to understand it better, or me, we could sit and meet and review it with you before. And then we'll certainly be reviewing it January, February, March, as we go through it line by line. So.
As far as the actual numbers that are represented in here, I'm just going to be looking here at line 47 on the first page. This is the grand total, so it just adds it all up. But so we had a budget of $77,438,090. To date, we have expended $25,980,623. We have encumbered $30,009,698. So year to date, we are at $55,990,321. And then based upon my analysis of where all these numbers are and what we've spent to date, I anticipate that we're going to end the year at $77,355,167, which is a favorable balance to the budget by $82,923. I will say that the last time we met, well, actually, last time we talked about this was the Board of Ed meeting in October. At that point, we were anticipating an unfavorable balance of $12,699. So we moved in the right direction. I'll tell you the main reason for that is that the tuitions for the magnet and vocational schools came in. And we had budgeted a 5% decrease in those magnet and vocational students going to those schools, but the actual number came in more like 9%. So we did a little bit better than what we had budgeted. And so that's the main reason that number moved like that.
But the outplacement is such a slippery slope because you could have a student move in tomorrow that has special significant needs, and our school may or may not be able to have that, handle that. And if they do, it might take extra supports that cost more money. So we're constantly monitoring that, and Denise Doolittle does a wonderful job supporting families and seeing that kids get the just right placement. So.
We have questions on the object code summary? Dean?
Yeah, the first number that jumped out at me is under custodial maintenance, basically not line 6 on 2.2-1. So you show an underage of $112,000. Your project,
Yep.
going to be $112,000
Yep.
in the black on that one.
Yep.
So what accounts for that very rosy number?
There's a couple of things that occurred. That is for custodial maintenance and our technicians. We did have 2 technicians retire this year, and we replaced those at a lower rate. Same thing with maintenance. We had to replace one of those positions as well. So those are once again replaced at a lower rate. And then the part-time custodial staff that we utilize, we're actually seeing a positive impact. The ARP ESSER and the ESSER 2, these are our grants that we received due to the coronavirus. And in there are funds to pay for additional custodial staff to help keep the facilities clean or cleaner, and so we're finding that we can't fill all those positions, both the ones that are funded by grant as well as the positions that we originally had. So the squeeze is happening within here.
Similar to the paraprofessional.
Yeah, similar to the paraprofessionals.
And secretaries. I mean, some of those positions have been very hard to fill. And that was on the news tonight, that positions are really hard to fill.
Also on one other line, and I'll give it up. The other one that jumped out was the underage on line 15 under professional services of the 80,000 and change. That's about a 32% difference over the originally budgeted amount.
Yep.
So what's that about?
So there are a couple of reasons for that one. Once again, in the technicians group, in the IT group, we needed to hire an IT consultant to help us through our transition, one of the technicians that we had to replace. So we had to hire some expert help to get us through that hump. As well as we had committed to paying for a study of the field house. And so that cost is reflected here.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
We're taking care of that, and then the town will be forwarding the information to John Burt, who will look at the culinary arts wing for us.
Yeah,
Through the
about
town.
25,000 for the field house.
Right.
All right, thanks.
Matt?
Ken, I'm going to display my ignorance. When this budget was prepared a year ago, the totality of the federal COVID funds had not yet materialized. So I'm wondering, since I'm understanding you to have said, perhaps incorrectly, that we've offset some costs with COVID money, where does the COVID money appear or not appear in this budget?
So it does not appear in this budget. This is totally the budget for what the board pays for or what the town pays for. And I wouldn't say we're replacing with COVID funds. It's just that we have so much, only so many staff, and we have to apply it against something. And so it makes most sense to apply it against the grant first, because those are limited funds. Those will go away in September 2024.
But we're very careful that it's the extra staff that we need to clean the facilities or to work, because there's this cliff. If you hire all these people, and even if it's paying with our ESSER money, that goes away. So the operations is kind of the steadfast foundation of the people that are here. And then the extra support that we've gotten in the way of some tutors and, other staff members, that has come in through the ARP ESSER funds.
So will the forthcoming budget display the SRR revenue and expenditures either rolled into this or as a separate document?
Yeah, there is a separate document, similar to last year. In our budget book for last year, we had two funds. We had ESSER 1 and the Coronavirus Relief Fund, CRF. And we identified how those were to be spent. There shouldn't be any impact on this, or at least the budget, because we're not supplanting these costs. We're supplementing. We're adding to. And if we had all the staff, all the part-time custodial staff, we would spend these funds, but we're probably not going to be able to do that for this year.
Well, I'd love to visit with you. At this point, I'm speaking only personally. It would be very helpful to, whether it's rolled into one or in two separate documents, I think it would be useful for us to see how that's allocated.
And
Yeah,
that's
certainly.
part of that story that we're going to tell with the budget. And that does include all of the various grants that we've received.
Wonderful.
So you'll be able to see that, and we can tell the story about those different grants, whether they were Department of Defense Education Activity, whether it was the MSAP grant, which is coming to a close, which is the federal magnet grant for the two middle schools that have become one. So we do have a big story to showcase, and we'll go through that and steadily, and you certainly ask us any questions. And if you needed to take extra time and sit with us, that's fine too.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions on this before we move on to the healthcare report? Rita?
Yes, I had two questions, Ken. Did we have a tuition paying student this year at the high school?
Tuition paying students, yes,
Two.
two.
And how much, where is that in the budget? And how much are we charging them?
So it's revenue, and it goes directly to the town. So we don't actually see that here. And the tuition cost,
Was what the board had agreed on.
yeah, somewhere in the 15,000 range, although I don't know the exact number. I apologize.
Okay, and
Everyone voted on for the tuition based.
right.
Right.
And my second question is on line 158, magnet tuition. Does that include special ed tuition for the Ocean Avenue Learning Center?
158 magnet tuition. So that one is for non-special education. But if you look at row 155, that's
Yes.
where special education magnet costs would be, and it would include special education services that the students get.
So that's separate from the special ed placements. That's not considered the Board of Ed.
Right. So the placements, the 153 and 154, those are placements by either the board or the state, and they're typically in more intensive, and it could be the Ocean Avenue that you mentioned. Whereas the magnet choice, line 155, is that's where a special education student chooses to go to one of the magnet choices.
Or a non-special ed student.
Well, maybe I should be clear, but 158 is regular education, 155 is special education.
Okay.
We separate them for reporting purposes.
And there is some reimbursement though from the federal government and with the special ed placements, correct?
Yes.
Excess cost.
So there is the excess cost grant that we get from the state that offsets those costs.
But that goes directly to the town as
That
well,
goes directly
to
to
pay
the town as
for
well,
it.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Jay?
Ken, last year during our budget and actually several years prior to that, we relied upon the insurance reserve in order to not raise the total budget. That's one of the key reasons why we were able to come in at 0. Has the use of that reserve been applied to this document yet? Or is it just something that you're waiting? Because my understanding is you reduce the amount you send to the town every month to sort of take advantage of, then the reserve sort of floats over to make up any deficit that you're withholding from the town. Has that process started yet?
Yeah, certainly. So, yeah,
Okay,
so our
so-
payments made out to the town for the health insurance reserve are, I don't know the exact numbers, but they conceivably less than what we were paying last year at this time.
Okay.
I don't know the.
Okay,
don't
but
have
you've
that
already
number.
factored all that in,
Yeah,
because in a previous year, we didn't actually have to use the reserve. I can't remember the exact circumstances that came about, but we had budgeted for a certain amount and we didn't have to use it. But this year we are factoring in every month
Yeah.
a lower
a
payment
lower-
to the
yeah,
town,
Yeah, exactly.
and then they take out of the reserve to make it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
However, at the end of last year, remember, we were able to pay some of our OPEB responsibility and pay back to the health reserve. So the same thing, I'd like to be ahead so that can happen,
Right. Okay.
right?
Thank you.
Am I saying that?
yeah,
right?
yep.
Looking to him.
And actually,
He's the one who
that
really
kind of
knows.
goes into the next item, but I'll hold off on that until we're done.
It sounds to me like we're just starting to get our budget chunks on, like to really kind of look at the output code. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And I
do
really,
too.
I actually
appreciate it.
appreciated the primer of just once again, kind of getting myself back into the thinking about the budget. This is a nice job. Thank you. If there's no more questions about the object code, we're going to move on to the insurance, if that's all right.
So attachment number 2 is a report of our health insurance claims. This is a report that's prepared by MDG, our health insurance agent. And we are in a self-insured health insurance plan with the town. So we're one big pool, really. And so these claims, they come into MDG and they disaggregate them so that we can see just the Board of Ed versus the town. So they give us a report for both, and they add up to the total that the claims were. In this report, I gave you the September report. I have the October report. I don't know why I didn't I inadvertently sent the wrong one. So for September, we are at 97.5% of budget. So we set a budget during the budget period of time and what we think those claims are going to come in at. And we just divide it by 12 and apply that here. Just so you understand, these are claims, not only claims for active employees, but as well as retired employees. So they all come through this line here. So for the month, we were at 97.5%, year to date, 92.8%. So we're doing a little bit better than what we had budgeted. Last year, we were in a somewhat different situation because COVID was still early on at that point, and there were less people seeking medical procedures and visits. That seems to have alleviated somewhat and is more regular. Let's see, I'm sorry I didn't send you the October one, but the October one, of course I don't have it. The October one was, it was 80, I think it was 85% of budget. So once again, we're continuing to trend on the good side for claims. And what this will do is if we have a good total claims number, less than what we budgeted, it will have the effect of increasing our health insurance reserve because basically less is coming out to fund these claims. I don't know if that's clear.
It's about as clear as mud as you can get on some of that.
I've got a special diagram I'm going to unveil during budget so that you'll understand. Just be crystal clear.
We can hardly wait.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think.
I'm a visual learner.
Yes.
I love those types
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah,
Work for you,
I
I think.
agree. Once again, I just really appreciate us taking some time thinking about that, because the next couple of months, that's what we're going to be thinking about. So that's good. So any other questions for Ken?
I have a question, Kim.
Absolutely, Bev.
Ken, what do you mean by lives? How many claims you have on this sheet here?
Yeah,
The
so,
first,
yep, that first column right after the date, that's the number of people that are being covered. So 570 lives is 570 people. I mean, it's insurance company put this together, so they have a funny way of putting things, but it means people.
You want to orient the chart to all the things that are being said?
Sure.
Sure.
You want me to go across this chart just so we're
Yeah.
aware of what. So it's a line for every month. First column is lives. That means people. Then we get net medical paid claims. So this is what Anthem actually paid out. So it's what was paid out above and beyond what the insured would have paid in deductibles. So this is what Anthem paid. Same thing with the RX claims. That's the pharmacy claims. Dental is for dental, of course. And so that next column, total net paid claims, is the sum of those first three columns. Total fixed costs, we get a charge per live, per person from Anthem to manage this. And so that's a fixed cost. It's if you do the math, it should be divisible by the number of lives, and it should come out to a number. And that comes up to total costs. The monthly budgeted number is that budget that we set, and we just divide by 12. The next column is, this one kind of goes opposite of what our object code does, but it goes total cost less budget. So here a negative is good. Confusing. And then the last column, and this also looks at it a little differently. This is what percentage we are at of budget versus on the object code, we're kind of looking at it the opposite way. We're saying what our projected unexpended is going to be. And
So that red line under the blue line is a good thing, and it's happened 4 months in a row.
Yeah. For the visuals among us, we definitely want the red to be below the blue.
I have, I'm gonna recognize Jay and then Matt.
So just very simplistically, you mentioned Anthem, but the money actually resides with the town because we're self-insured, and Anthem is basically deciding how claims will be paid out of our money. They're just our contractor.
They process it.
Right.
They're an insurance company, so they already have all the infrastructure to do this. So they take it and they process it, but the cost, there is no premiums paid.
Right.
All of the claims are paid by us, by the town.
Right. So every month, the faculty and staff are paying in. The board contributes this fixed amount every month, along with whatever the staff is putting in. And then at the end of that month, this variance, if it's in parentheses, is going toward that budget reserve that we talked about, the health insurance reserve.
That's right.
But again, it's all the town's money.
Right.
And the theory is at the end, you want to make sure that reserve is as large as possible, because we're playing the insurance company here.
Yeah, and just maybe a little bit more information. Once again, it's good for budget, but because we're a self-insured plan, we have to maintain a 25% of claims as our base. We have to have that there. It's what they call the corridor. It's just a base amount, because we don't have that, and all of a sudden claims started coming in, and so there has to be that base. Then what the board looks at, or what it's looked at in the past, is that overage over the corridor up to what the total balance is, and that's the amount that the board can make decisions on reducing it or increasing it or doing whatever is best for the board.
Thank you.
Matt.
And how many people represent, what's the N for the total number current and retired employees that we're caring for?
So I want to make sure I got
I'll
the
try
question
again.
right. The number of.
Not the
of-
number that we're serving each month, but what is the total pool? If everybody submitted one claim in a month, everybody.
So this number here, this lives number, that represents everybody. So it's not who submitted claims, this is everybody.
Everybody on our plan.
So if you don't put in a claim, you're still counted as a life, as a person.
Okay, thank you. That clarifies for me. Appreciate that.
Jay,
And just one other thing. So let's say that one person puts in the maximum amount that you've budgeted. We have reinsurance
That's
that
correct.
steps in.
Yeah,
So
we
there's
have what's called the stop loss insurance policy. And so basically, if you didn't have something like that, if someone had a catastrophic illness, they could run into possibly millions of dollars. So we have what's called the stop loss policy. It happens to be with Anthem as well. But anytime a single person reaches 200,000 is our limit right now. Anything over and above that is paid for by the insurance company. So we do pay a premium of sorts, but that's not reflected in this.
Right, so for that stop loss policy, we have a traditional insurance policy we're paying premiums on, but only if it's catastrophic.
That's right.
Thank you.
any other questions?
Yeah, one. So based on prior year's experience, I know every year is different, especially in this era, as we're putting it. So I see 3 months here, you've got at least another month under your belt. But how confident are you that we'll be coming in to a nice safe landing point?
Yeah, so it's not linear, as you probably can guess. There is, usually the way it looks is July and August are higher because that's when
People are off.
people are off.
Yeah.
And so you July, August, sometimes it bleeds into September. Those are higher, and then you kind of get less. I feel like we're in a very good shape. I feel somewhat confident, even though we only have about a third of the year under our belt. But
Yeah, we've had other years, and based on your experience, this looks like it probably should.
Yeah.
However you want to qualify it.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we're just going to move right along to Mr. Kirkpatrick. How are you, sir?
Terrific. And yourself?
I'm dandy.
notice something that concerns me.
Oh,
Can I move this one like this?
you can. Thank you.
Thank you, sorry.
I didn't even see
Sorry
it
about that.
unplug.
Not a problem. Landing lights just went on.
Pay the bill.
Okay, so good evening. The first item on the list, the solar panel discussion for tonight on our schools is, I'm afraid we're going to have to table that because the consultant that is working with Rick Norris and me was not able to get his information together in time for this meeting, so which we found out later this afternoon. So we're hoping that that will be ready sometime in January. We'll probably go to finance and facilities first and then on to the board after that, if we can do that.
And that's for Groton Middle School and Mystic River Magnet.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Thames River is in the Groton Utilities area, and that's a different program, so it doesn't have the same ability to put panels on there. More steps to make that work, so.
So could you just do like a quick primer about, so just talk about Groton Middle School and Mystic River, like where would the payment, is that grants? Is that, how we would get that?
Well, that would be one of the things that we talk about in the discussion as to whether we would want to own the panels or essentially lease the panels.
Okay.
So that would be number one. And if we did not want to own them, they have a program, power purchase agreement, which would mean that it would be paid out of your, you'd be paying it through your normal payment to the utilities. So there would be no out of cost pocket, you pay on a monthly basis essentially. So that's an item that we'll discuss with the finance committee when we get the consultant ready for that. But again, We would also consider solar panels on the high school too, or at least part of the high school. There's one section of the roof that was done about 5 years ago. The others are probably too old at this point. The state has come up with a program where they will also replace roofs at the same time that you do solar panels. So we're also looking into that for the other parts of the high school. High school is a nice, large, flat space and looking in the right direction. So that may work out well in the future. The second thing that I want to talk about are the elementary schools. While we're in the schools, we're still doing some closeout regarding the project, the construction project. But one of the things that we found after we had a little storm last week, I think it was last week, could have been 2 weeks ago by now, but we had a little storm, and because they sprayed the concrete sidewalks with salt guard, when you have new concrete, when you put salt on concrete, it actually eats away at the concrete. So one of the things the project called for was putting salt guard on the sidewalks. That would be like putting Rain-X on your windshield. What happens is the water essentially beads up on it. It doesn't sink into the concrete, and so it just sits there. And so one morning last week, when we had some moisture on the sidewalks, that actually froze just before the sun comes up in the morning. There's a slight dip in temperature, and the sidewalks glazed over. And so the custodians were out there running around like crazy, putting sand down on the sidewalk. We only use sand on the new sidewalks, by the way, both at the middle school and at the 2 new elementary schools. We're going to try and do that for 2 years before we start using the salt on the sidewalks so that they'll last a little bit longer. So in the meantime, Rick Norris has arranged to have the sidewalks power washed, which will help wash away some of this salt guard that is on the sidewalks. I think the fact that we've also got so much sand on those sidewalks right now, if our custodians go out there, which I've suggested they do, go out there with our tractor, which has a brush on the front of the tractor. If they go out there and actually brush that off, that will also help erode some of that salt guard that's on the sidewalk. So we're working on that. Also going on, we have, we're closing the other elementary schools, and the auction is online presently regarding the leftover furnishings and equipment that are in the buildings presently. And so we're just waiting for that to finish up before we empty out those buildings. The third item is transportation. And things were looking pretty good, but I got a phone call this morning from STA. And you may have noticed or seen the reports that the governor's put out where we're having this increase in positive tests. It has hit Groton too. And because some of our bus drivers are quarantining, either because they may have a problem themselves or because their children have the problem, the next week to 10 days could be difficult after the Thanksgiving holiday. I think it's just coming to roost now. So hopefully the Christmas holiday doesn't give us the same problems weeks after that. But so the next couple of weeks, anyways, looks like it could be a little bit difficult regarding transportation. They did have the buses fully staffed. We had bus drivers for each bus, whether they were employees of STA here in Groton or they brought some in from Norwalk and other areas, Waterford, Norwalk, Greenwich. So they had drivers for each bus, but now they're right down to the wire with the numbers, and as call-ins come in, that will cause doubling up of runs over the course of the next few days anyway. So
I did tell Mrs. Medling, she really had a wonderful system. She was getting up early and looking for any late buses and doing robocalls personally to families who were affected. So I told her to be prepared that this could start happening again. And she will be on it through, and the parents did seem to really appreciate being notified.
We did talk to STA again this afternoon and reminded them that we need to have those bus situations reported to us as early as possible in the morning so that Joyce can get those calls out as soon as possible.
I'm kind of wondering, is it worth us sending out a district-wide robocall stating that there might be issues around transportation because of the increase of COVID numbers? Just so that parents could be prepared. I mean, this situation is yucky, but if you kind of know that there's a possibility and you can pin it on something, I don't know, that would be my
Might
thought.
be a good idea for a general message and then send out the specifics in the morning or afternoons as they.
I could
occur.
also link it to the website that shows our numbers increasing. I had said in board notes, the principals are, just exhausted doing all the things that they have to do, plus this COVID tracing, and it has really ramped up. So whether people have vaccines or not, we're even seeing breakout cases with those who are fully boosted. So it's scary.
I think we've lost Rita, but I'm going to recognize Dean and then Matt.
Before I take this off, because I'm not sure people can hear me through the piece of paper. We've had to drive my daughter to school 4 days in a row. Today was the 4th day. I presume the bus eventually shows up, but what she does is she goes to the bus stop. She's supposed to be picked up, say 7:03. She'll wait 20 minutes or so, then come back. It's not a very long walk, but she's got to catch me or her mother to drive her to school. Now, if she's late, it's excused, but what annoys her is she's got to be the one that walks in late. She's missed part of a class, etc. It's come down to this, and I'm speaking from, I know I'm on the board and whatnot, but my wife is not on the board. My wife is just the other parent. And so her point of view, which is probably shared by a lot of people, is whatever the problems are, either there are things we can fix or there are things outside of our control. If they're outside of our control, I'm going to be very, very candid. If they're outside of our control, we should just say they're outside of our control, because for the money that we spend, people say, well, we provide school buses. The idea is to provide a reliable transportation system. Binary. If it's not reliable, the parents are not interested, at least my wife, I'm sure there are others, are not interested in, and again, I appreciate the work and the effort and the exhaustion and all of this and the frustration. They're not interested in the why. They're not interested in the how it's going to get better and better and better. All they know is today it's not, at least for some people, it's not a reliable system. And if people know it's not a reliable system, I know there are people that have resources. My daughter can count on one of us being around to ferry her, okay? Not every family can do that. I'm aware of that. That's why we provide the buses to begin with. So for us, it's a convenience, but it's not an absolute necessity. If everybody's basically on their own, if the bus shows up, it shows up, it doesn't, it doesn't. We're just gonna have to acknowledge that if this is the reality, it is out of our hands. It's COVID, it's something in the economy, it's something in the water, whatever it is. And we're trying to make things as good as we can, but at the end of the day, we cannot promise a reliable transportation system. If you just say that, I know we want to try and tell people it's getting better, maybe it is getting better, but the feeling among, at least I get speaking for all over the world, the incremental improvements, are insufficient. It's unreliable, it's unreliable. Just say that and people will make their own arrangements, except instead what happens is my daughter goes to the bus stop, kind of hoping that the bus will show up on time to get her to school on time, but really not expecting that it will do so. I just don't think that she's in a unique position. It may just be that one bus line.
I don't.
But it
think so.
maybe others as well. I don't know. So at this point, this is, I think, what the folks out there are looking for.
What would you suggest, Sam?
Well, I hadn't heard this previously, but I do know that there were 4 or 5 buses that were late this morning. And we were looking into the reasons for that. So we're waiting for SDA to give us more reasons for why they were late this morning.
And certainly families who've called in and have a specific problem, if you gave the bus number to Sam, they've got the GPS system so they can actually monitor where her stop would be and when it arrived or when it didn't arrive. So, I mean, we can absolutely follow up on these things,
It was either-
especially if
yeah.
there's a pattern.
It was either a substitute, and again, throw me into a bus line in another town. I don't know where I'm going, but I'll do my best, right? But that's what it's gonna happen. Or there were lines that were combined. There's a shortage and a couple of routes were combined, and so my daughter's got to wait a little longer. It happens.
But she needs to know that. So that's where Ms. Meddling comes in, where if they've told us that they're gonna double up, and I know we asked that question, are any of these gonna be late? And they assured us no. So, you know, that bothers me because we could have made that call to say it's gonna be a few minutes late.
Yeah.
But 20 is too many.
I don't, yeah, it's happened before this too. I don't expect a Swiss watch. It's not gonna fit together like the pieces in a Swiss watch, but it's reached this level. And again, if it's out of our control, let's just say that and tell people, or hope for the best. But
Well, this isn't the first time that you told me about that particular bus, because about 2 months ago, you had a like story, a similar story.
yeah,
And when we looked into it, it was a substitute driver on that bus, so.
I think it
once
is again.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first day, this was last week, first day, as my daughter gave up, she could tell the bus was coming. Now, again, I presume that if all 4 days, the bus eventually came, and it doesn't disappear into the ether. But how long does she wait? The weather's colder now. She worries about getting to school on time. She's worried about bugging us. I never like to go home when the bus didn't show up or I missed it. That was a dreadful thing to see my mother. But in this case, it's not my daughter's fault, you know.
No, it's
Yeah.
not at all.
So.
No.
Anyway,
Would love to hear that story though, Dean, but you're missing it.
there are too many.
I think Matt,
I'm just thinking in terms of the communication with parents, there seem to me two parts. The part that Ms. Meddling is doing, but when we know we're having a COVID-related situation that's likely to continue for a while and the risk of the same thing happening after Christmas, might we consider preparing a 200-300 word article for the Groton Times and give the community a heads up that just inoculate the pain a little bit?
Sam,
Play
could
on
you,
words.
I am going to recognize Katrina and then Beverly. I see that your hand is up, and then Jay. So Katrina.
Is it possible to put on the landing page of the website a bus update for every day,
Yeah, we could do that.
along with the robocalls?
It's probably would be where social media would be very helpful for us as well.
Well, we're honing in on that one. That's coming soon with safeguards.
Bev,
Thank you, Kim. Susan, when a student on the bus is exposed to COVID or even has COVID, are you doing contact tracing?
Oh, yes, Bev, that's what I was saying. The principals, it's really taking a great deal of time. At least this time, if you're vaccinated, you can, what we say is screen and stay. But if kids aren't vaccinated and they're close contact, then they do need to have a quarantine period and get tested. So, you know, it's a very careful process. I would say with each case that we've seen, you might have 10 contacts. So let's say a school has 4 cases in a day, times 10, that's 40 youngsters that you're, you know, checking on and seeing, you know, and if they're vaccinated, they can screen and stay. But if not, and they're that close contact without wearing a mask and sitting side by side over a period of time, then they have to be quarantined, and adults as well. So, and the scary thing is that a lot of us felt like we were vaccinated a couple times and boosted and that we should be safe, but we've even seen breakthrough cases there. So it's still, this COVID-19 pandemic is still with us, unfortunately.
We're getting calls on a daily basis from principals looking for the videotapes on the buses so that they can do the contact
Yes,
tracing.
that's right.
So
Okay.
So we run those tapes, we copy them over to the principals so that they can do the contact tracing. Maybe not every day, but it's often enough right now that I remember them.
Thank you, because I just had a email this morning about whether the school was doing contact tracing from a parent who said some of the students on her child's bus might have been exposed to COVID. So I was just wondering. And also, how are we encouraging the students on the buses to keep their mask on?
Well, I believe the principals, as kids are getting on the bus, remind them or whoever's out there that they wear their mask. We do keep the windows open slightly, even in the cooler weather, so that you have ventilation. And the bus drivers, if we have an aide on the bus, that's also very helpful. But we can't get bus aides, even for the buses that need the aides. So it's unfortunate. And our bus drivers are doing the very best they can, monitoring that situation and remind kids.
Yes.
And then they have a system of being able to report if a student is not following the rules. So if they are, if they're bullying each other or if they're not wearing their mask or whatever it is, they report to the school and then the administrator takes over there. And we've got a feedback system that we're going to be utilizing so that the bus company knows what's been done. Not person by person, because we have to be careful of student privacy, but just let them know the kinds of things that can be done for kids so that they, correct their behavior.
Right, so the bus driver is encouraging the kids to wear, or telling the kids that they must wear the mask as they're getting on the bus. And I was just asked for more masks for the adult size or for the high schoolers, because it seems that the high schoolers, more so than the elementary kids, are the ones that are forgetting to bring their mask with them when they get on the bus. But
Jay,
we deliver those to the bus companies so that they can make sure that any child that is getting on the bus has the ability to get a mask from us.
Do we have a student bus policy, student bus behavior policy for students?
Well, anything that's in the handbook counts for any place that kids are, whether they're in the school building, on the school grounds, or in the school bus. So that same level of expectation is everywhere.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I have a sidewalk question for Sam. Is that Sam who's in charge of? Okay. Are you responsible for the sidewalks close to the street or only the sidewalks in front of the school?
Are you talking, which school are you talking about?
Just say Thames River.
Thames River, yes, we're responsible to get that sidewalk on the street as well. The city of Groton also has a sidewalk machine that they, when it's deep snow, they go up there and do that. But we're responsible for it, but they do assist us with that.
Okay. Is there a standard size for the width of a sidewalk?
That I would have to check on, but most of the sidewalks are about 5 feet wide.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Okay, so I am going to recognize Jay, Liz, and then Rita. I see that you have your hand up.
Just a quick follow-up on that. We have a dashboard that's currently showing how many persons in each building have tested positive. Do you have any numbers on how many are currently in quarantine?
I could find out if we have the numbers quarantined.
Okay. And then a quick one for Sam. I know I keep coming back to this, but has the request for quotations gone out on the lights for Groton Middle School turf field?
Meeting with an architect, landscape architect tomorrow to work on that.
Okay. So is there hope for the
request
spring?
for proposal, the RFP.
Oh, you have to do the RFP first.
Yes,
I was trying not to use the alphabet soup. So then it's the RFQ.
that's right.
Okay.
RFP first and then
And then the
RFQ.
RFR. Yeah, so maybe there's hope for spring?
That's what we're working on.
Okay, thank you.
How cool would that be?
That would be great.
Liz,
Can I have the mic a little bit closer, please?
I think Mark's saying that we don't have to keep on moving it.
No? Okay, I won't then. Two things. First, I was at Groton Middle School today, and before the day dismissed school, the announcement was made, you must wear your mask. It
Oh,
must
good.
cover your nose, it must cover your mouth. Every person riding the bus must wear your mask. And let me tell you, those administrators and teachers were out there
Yeah.
and they were
They're
monitoring. So I mean, in between, there's only so much we can do. The other thing is I wanted to say thank you to Sam and to the teachers and everybody who worked on getting the time schedule changed. Because like I said, I was at the middle school today, and those buses rolled out of the high school, rolled to the middle school, and they were loaded and gone, like within 5 minutes. So I gotta tell you, it was like, what an improvement over the last time I observed that, and that was only just a couple of weeks ago. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Well, you can thank Susan.
Well, it's a
and-
team
and-
effort.
and Doug
Everybody
and-
worked on
yeah,
that.
Well,
It was
thank
like-
you.
For that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so. it was a team effort.
So I'm gonna recognize Rita and then I'll do Katrina. Bev, is your hand still up because you have another question or is it just not? Oh, okay. Rita,
Hi, yes, I was wondering if Isaiah takes the bus and what he feels about how the buses have been running.
I actually have my license, so I drive to and from school.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And I found this dashboard that I didn't even know it existed, but it doesn't break it down by the schools. So like right now I'm looking at it and it says COVID cases, December 13th, 13 COVID cases. So that's doubled from December 10th almost. But it doesn't really break it down by school, does it? Or can you do it by school also?
If you click, there is a place to click and it'll show you.
I'll have Tom review that for me, Rita, because I haven't looked at it like in the past week. So I'll have,
I was going to ask later in the meeting if we could get this information in our board notes, but if we could get it on the website, that's fine.
to get it. Yeah.
And then, but also how many cases, but how many people are quarantining?
Rita, I'm sorry, if you're looking at the dashboard, right above the bar graph, to the
Yes.
left, you see it says school building names.
Yes.
And if you click on the arrow, you should be able to click off on what school you want to see. You see that?
So click it off or click it on?
Well, right now they're all on. So if you wanted to just see Groton Middle School, click all the other ones off,
And then only Groton Middle School.
and then
should
only
show up.
Groton Middle School will show on the graph. You'll see the graph change as you click off each school.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. Now I just see it changing, so. Okay, so I wonder where all the cases are. There's only one at the high school. This is very interesting. I didn't realize we had this technology. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Maybe we need a clearer description so people know how to do the clicking.
and
they can get
this
the
dashboard is
information.
on our website, is that correct? All right.
Yeah, actually, there's a link right off the main
Right
page
off
at
the
the
main
top.
page. Yep.
Yeah, just go to grotonschools.org. It's the top link.
It says
Ask your
community health
child
links
or
and
grandchild.
dashboard.
Yeah.
Right.
For assistance.
All right, Katrina.
I'm wondering about this auction. Could we notify Children's First so they can disseminate that information to the daycares that they communicate with? So if they would like some of those.
That's a good idea.
They could look.
Nadine could get in touch with the children first, tell
Children First,
Nadine.
yeah.
Yeah, and she can have children first. That's a really good idea.
You know, we had all the town departments come in before the auction. I'll do that tomorrow.
Thank you.
Any other questions for that? Awesome, let's move on. So we're on to our committee reports. So policy did not meet. That was canceled for this curriculum.
We did that.
You did not meet. And finance and facilities, you did meet. Is that correct?
Yes, so we met on November 1st. We went over the minimum wage increase proposal,
December 1st.
November 1st. Right, was it?
I thought it was this month, December 6th.
We meet
maybe.
this month?
Oh, I'm
December
sorry.
6th.
Yep, I pulled the wrong minutes. I apologize. Let me just look that up. I do want to mention, I owed an answer back to Mr. Anderson about the use of technology for collecting money for fundraising. And we didn't discuss it at the finance and facilities meeting. However, Ken is researching how other districts have done it for best practices with regard to the security of the transactions, the security of the credit card information,
Right.
and also district liability for if there's a breach and all those cards are released, does our current insurance cover all that? So he's going to check on that with the other finance directors.
And we do have some system in place for food services
Yeah, we
and
do have a way to collect credit cards through, it's called My Payments Plus. We mainly used it in the past just for food service and for collecting AP tests fees.
but we have discussed that that could be something that could be utilized for all kinds of things, even student activities and,
But for fundraising, sometimes I'm assuming you want something that's a little more accessible, say on a smartphone. I'm not sure how you would integrate that with My Payments Plus.
So we'll have to talk to Clinton about that.
yeah.
He'll be a good resource for that.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
kids even have me on
Yep.
Venmo.
I'm gonna,
Maybe you could come back to me at the end of the others and I'll look up the correct minutes.
sure.
I
So
know.
Rita, would you like to do Learn?
Oh, I would. Thank you. We started our Learn meeting with a presentation from the superintendent of schools in Old Lyme. I found it very interesting that they are charging $19,000 for their students to go to their high school from out of district, $17,000 for middle. And then any staff that wants to send their child to an Old Lyme school is 50% discounted. So I thought that was extremely interesting. In special education, it's $19,000 and any additional costs the parents pay if they're from out of district. So, and they started this, a number of years ago. They spend about $50,000 on marketing. And they have, I think they have made this, have tuition of $100,000. They have brought that many students back to their Old Lyme district, or students who were going to private schools and decided they'd like to go to Old Lyme better than to the private school they were going to. So I'm glad to hear that we have 2 students and maybe we should be charging more money. I'm not sure. He also talked about they had a community forum that helped them work on their strategic plan, which I thought was, and they did it by Zoom, which I thought was an interesting idea because I know that is something we want to do as a board. Learn is their financial officer. This is for Ken. They, and you probably might already know this, but now he is in charge of the State Oil Consortium. And he's asking the 169 towns in Connecticut to go in on this consortium so we can all save money with our oil as a group. So I think that's wonderful. The other thing is we were told that the federal government has put out another magnet school assistance program, and Learn was going to ask Groton, New London, and Norwich to participate again and hopefully get another wonderful 5-year grant for $15 million. Let's hope so.
We do have intra-district magnets.
Right. But this is the magnet school assistant program.
Right.
And we were also presented with the tuition raises, which are going to impact our budget. After I looked at what we pay for tuitions for magnet schools, the magnet schools are going up about 1.9%, but all of special ed is going up 5% across the board, some even 6%. So it's going to have a real impact because I know we utilize their services quite a bit.
We do.
So that's thought I'd give you a heads up.
%, but I hadn't heard the 5.
Yeah, that's some bad news. Well, and that's about it. It was a great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Jay, were you successful?
I was.
Yay.
So we did meet on December 7th. We talked about, now that Groton Middle School's been open for a while, we talked about some of the needs there on the athletic fields, especially netting near the road so that we don't have things going on into traffic, and some other issues. The town council had asked us what other things we might need there, given that there is money left in the bond issue.
Can I interject that
Yes.
John Burt had said, we're going to put together a memo
Okay.
and Mark Romano is going to help us. So We might also send it to you, Jay, since you've been on that committee, to make sure we haven't missed anything.
Okay,
And because we'll be sending that forward, and they've also asked for us to do the same thing for the other 2 new schools. So I've asked Jamie Giordano and Steve Wheeler to do the very same thing, and we'll look at that. So I plan on sending 3 separate memos, one for the Groton Middle School, one for Thames River, and one for Mystic River,
okay.
and see what they can do.
And then Principal Peter Bass had some concerns inside the building. There's some heating issues where areas don't get heated properly. There's some lighting issues. None of this is really major, but we wanted to bring it up before we completely close this project, obviously. Dr. Kennedy reviewed the report that we actually had already looked at the last COW for updating technology devices. We did the staffing review for Mystic River and Thames River for the administrator. We received our budget preview, and Superintendent Austin mentioned the change in times at Groton Middle School.
And I tried to, in my board notes, forward a lot of that information to all of you so that you would also have it, especially Ken's nifty little chart that had the ratio of kids to administrator.
So going through the committee, negotiations that we did, was it last week?
Yeah.
Last week, the negotiating team did meet with the union, and we're at a pause. There was no town council, RTM, or Board of Ed liaison, or AGSA, GE Board of Ed liaison. Groton scholarships, we don't have anyone going to that yet, so there's a report. Athletic fields, Jay?
Yeah, they're not meeting this month again, due to the meeting guidance from town council.
Okay, and then state council, it's April, so we'll wait for that in April. So I am going to move us on to the action items. And so the consent agenda is where all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion with points of clarification allowed. And so I'll entertain a motion for approval of the regular meeting minutes of November 22nd, 2021.
So moved.
Thank you, Dean. Can I have a second? Liz, any discussion? Katrina?
There's 3 typos that I saw. I don't know if I addressed this here or should I email someone?
You can just give them to Joan.
Okay.
But there's just, it's typos, it's nothing for changing
No,
of the,
no.
okay.
You see, she had me brain.
I can see that. Any other discussions? Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you for having me.
So all those in favor of the approval of the regular meeting minutes of the November 22nd, 2021, with the typos being sent to Joan, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain?
I, Bev Washington.
All right. Liz, would you be willing to read under old business, the motion for number 1?
Motion is to approve policy P4118.239 COVID-19 vaccinations as a second reading.
Can I have a second to that?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Katrina. Discussion? I have Matt and Katrina.
Katrina, go first.
No. You raised your hand
It
first.
doesn't matter. I'm
Thank
just
you for
trying-
trying to be
just to be
gentleman.
nice, that's all. I've been following these discussions on Zoom before I joined the board, but it was only this past weekend that I got to read the language in the actual text. And I unreservedly support the goals embedded in the text. But its specific language raises concerns that the draft policy may unintentionally expose our district to unnecessary litigation. I'll only mention 2 things, though there are 5. Among these concerns are both its articulated process for handling religious exemption requests and the absence of any appeal process. both of which are explicitly set out in the selective service systems process for religious exemptions, in their case for military service. But it is a process both in how the discussions with the applicant are handled and an appeals processes, so everybody is guaranteed due process. I think it's a relatively easy fix, but I would respectfully move to recommit the proposed vaccination policy P4118-239 to the policy committee for further review and consideration. And I have some supporting data if the board so moves.
Okay, thank you. Katrina?
I would just agree with everything Matthew said.
Okay, so that's your. okay.
Yeah.
We
that's
need,
what I
we
want.
need a couple good members on that policy committee. We've lost a couple good members, so.
Well,
Jim.
he's made a motion, right? You made a motion, Matt?
No, a
I made a
recommendation.
Oh, okay.
I don't
I wasn't
understand the
sure.
full process yet,
Okay.
so I'm just sharing my thoughts, and I trust you guys to handle it appropriately.
Well, you sound good.
Sure did.
But isn't it actually, this is where we have to get out of Roberts maybe, but isn't this actually a motion to recommit that we have to vote on rather than voting on the, do we have to vote on this first?
Well, it sounds like he didn't intend the motion.
Oh, okay, I thought he moved to recommit, so, okay,
He didn't get,
okay.
he didn't understand the procedure.
I trust you, you guys know what I have in mind. You
Right.
decide how you want to handle it.
I think, I think your intent is that you would like us not to move forward and voting this fully as a second reading, but to put this back into policy. I think
You have
that's your
understood
intent.
me completely.
Okay. So that is what his idea is to not to,
So I would second that.
okay,
I
but
still
but
think
that's
it's a
not a motion
motion,
yet.
isn't
Okay.
it?
Oh,
Well,
but we
you-
have an open motion on the floor right now. So,
We apparently don't, because he didn't
No.
intend the motion. It didn't use the magic.
No,
word.
no, but we have, we have,
Motion to
To approve it.
we have the motion to
Oh, that
approve it.
motion.
Yes,
Okay.
that
We
motion.
don't have any other motion.
But I thought a motion to recommit went over the,
It does, but he doesn't intend the motion.
okay.
Well, if you guys are
I am
comfortable with it,
so
I'll make it as a
confused.
motion.
Who's on first?
No, it's just a question of what he meant.
If we vote no on it, doesn't it automatically go back to committee?
I would
That could
assume.
Solve that problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
it doesn't matter to me whether it's a specific motion to recommit or whether it just goes back by default, which is pretty much how a lot of this stuff happens.
Happens anyways.
Frankly. I'll have something to say, but go through other people who already raised their hands, so,
I think I did.
okay. I voted against this thing the last time for any number of reasons, but I would bring this up. There's a reference to Executive Order 13D.
What page do you?
In the first
Oh, the very
paragraph.
first paragraph.
Okay,
It says, pursuant to, or.
oh, yeah, got it.
Okay, in
Thank
accordance
you.
with. On September 10th, Executive Order 13G expressly superseded 13D. Now, the interesting thing, and I wasn't here for the genesis of this document. The interesting thing is that our policy, while it tracks 13D, also partially tracks 13G. In other words, there's language in the policy that you find in G, but not in D, as though the original author had seen G as well, or maybe another draft of D, I don't know.
Oh,
But I will say that G, again, adopted September 10th, does specifically revoke D. Now, why does that matter? What's the difference between G and D? G came out, I'm only paraphrasing, G came out because there were concerns about some of the provisions in D. Now, in both D and G for the public, it deals with all sorts of, it covers other areas other than school boards and school employees. But one of the things that I picked up, other than a few language shifts here and there, is under the original D and in our proposed policy, the district is responsible for authenticating the vaccination status of people who work for contractors to the district. D called for that. G says the contractors are responsible for ensuring the vaccination status of their employees, their workers. So that's one significant difference. And I will bring up something else as well. Neither of these policies addresses the situation where a woman who is pregnant is considered by the EEOC to be exempt, following ADA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not simply the existence of the pregnancy itself, but there is an unanswered issue with respect to either of these executive orders, that when they say you're exempt because your doctor said that the vaccine could cause you a problem, or there's a religious exemption that you've gotten, that it may or may not cover pregnancies, which the EEOC has recognized as an exemption, but neither of these do. It would be a simple fix, I suppose we could add it in. One could argue that, that it's already covered because you've got a medical exemption in there, but it probably should be made more explicit. The bottom line is, I would be in favor of sending this back to, for further
Yeah,
digestion.
it sounds like a good idea to me.
Well, is there any more discussion? All right, all those in favor?
So your notes and your
What?
notes, if you could send them forward to
Oh,
me.
Bev, do you have your hand up?
Can we make a second motion to send it back to committee?
Actually,
On the board, do you only have one motion at a time, or can you have two motions on the floor?
Well,
No.
you could have a recommit, I think.
we could have a recommit, is what Dean was saying, but I think, Bev, what we were saying is that if we just actually don't pass this motion,
It goes back.
it's gonna go back to, go back to the policy committee.
Okay,
So it's, I think, maybe there's many roads that lead us there, so.
I will point out one thing though, Kim, if you'll allow me the license. If we vote no, our understanding is that automatically, now that I'm thinking through this,
Right.
is that automatically goes back to the committee. But it could also be interpreted in a very neutral fashion as we do not approve of the policy,
Right.
and it's dead.
Okay,
So we should probably somewhere along the way, for the record, say, we
Right.
want this to go back to the policy
Right.
committee.
We don't approve of the policy as written.
Right.
So ultimately, we do not approve of the policy.
Right.
So if the initial motion were withdrawn, people who made the initial motion and second withdrew that motion, then we could go right to a recommit motion without having to say no.
Yeah, that's an interesting area. Can you, because we do this all the time. I've seen it before. People will withdraw a second and withdraw the motion, and we let all that go. We're not, we're retentive about these things, but if that's people's wish, it just has to be clear what we're doing.
okay, so can I just, Jay?
I was going to ask Joan. How should we proceed if we want to send this back to committee?
Normally, from what I'm remembering, a motion would be made to refer this policy back to policy.
And that overrides the underlying motion that's on the floor.
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
Motion to table.
I'll make that motion
Okay, so make the motion.
to send P 4118.239 back to the policy committee.
Can I have a second on that?
Second.
All right, Liz seconded it. Any discussion? All those in favor of moving the policy P 4118.239 back to policy, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? That motion has been carried. Good discussion, folks.
Mhm.
Okay,
Kim, before you move on, there are some typos in this policy that when it goes back to the committee, the policy committee, maybe they could address.
so maybe Rita, if you saw the typos, if you could send that to Susan so that when she leads the policy committee, she'll have those typos, those.
And I'll have Erica do a real close read on it too.
And Mike, I have another question. Does it say in there who is responsible for paying for testing for the staff that do not receive the vaccine for some exemption? I think it's 6% that we have right now in our district, and I would like to know who pays for the weekly testing.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's not in the policy.
It's not in.
What I can do is when we bring it back to policy, Lori will be there because Lori really, as our HR director, has been implementing this already, honestly, because the executive order happened back in September.
Right.
Oh, and
But to
people
me,
are
it's
fine.
very important that if someone, that the district shouldn't be paying for the testing. I mean, that's my feeling, but I don't know how other people feel about it or what the common practice is, but we could
I don't-
maybe find out.
I don't think they are. We've actually given out sites that are still doing this for free. Or if people have their medical card and using their own doctor, but I don't know that they are, but I'll double check. Yeah.
The teachers.
Okay, thank you.
And my understanding from the fact that we would like to have the next motion or the next item go back to the committee of the whole, I say that we do now. So Dean, I'm gonna lean on you again. So would you just have that tabled?
Move to refer the matter to the committee of the whole.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
That's my
as you
motion.
said.
that's your motion. Can I have a second on his motion, please?
Second.
Okay.
I'm in just a second.
In,
Sorry, Christina. got ahead of you.
any discussion on that?
I think we already
Okay.
had some.
Right, but okay, I'm just making sure that we're doing the right thing. So all those in favor of moving the 2022-23 school calendar back to the committee of the whole, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? That has also happened. All right. Jay, would you be willing to read the motion under new business number 2?
Yes, I move to recognize January 18th, 2022 as National Maintenance Day, and to direct the superintendent of schools to send a letter of appreciation to the maintenance staff.
Have a second to that, please? Andrea has seconded that. Any discussion?
Do we like give them cookies or a cake or anything? to
I do these really cute cards and then I
I mean,
send you all the
sure,
cards.
I'm sure we can arrange.
We have a
something like
lot
that.
of groups that go through this, like all of our teachers, so I don't know that we've actually done that, but we have done nice cookouts for them and things like that,
Okay.
so. But I do take time in sending a really nice personal note and a card kind of thing that I make.
Thank you.
Krispy Kreme run.
I do that too at central office a lot.
Any-
Dunkin' Donuts.
Any other questions or discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to recognize January 18th, 2022 as National Maintenance Day and to direct the superintendent of schools to send a letter of appreciation to the maintenance staff, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Abstain, that motion has carried. All right, we're at the information and proposals, letters and communications and comments. Dean, do you have anything?
Nothing really other than want to thank the voters for sending me here. I guess I should be thanking them. And I know we're gonna have differences, but that's okay. That's allowed. That's encouraged. It can be
Absolutely.
exciting at times. I'm sure we'll work together. And I wish the board success in, I can't say the board has a term because we're staggered, but I wish us success in the coming year or two. After that, you're on your own. Actually, I'll still be here. You'll be there.
Dean, I am very thankful that you are here and you add I have learned a lot just through your comments and questions, so I really appreciate that. Liz,
I've not had any communications, letters. It's been kind of quiet in my end of the world, but I just want to say welcome to, especially welcome back, Katrina, welcome Matthew. And I'm thrilled that Andrea and Dean and Beverly is back. So we're all, this is going to be quite an interesting group. And it's really kind of cool to have new voices, new ideas. So I'm looking forward to it.
thank you, Liz. I'm going to shoot to the board. Beverly, do you have anything?
Thank you, Kim. Somebody emailed me and they asked me some questions and I don't know and they had comments. The first one had to do with the dashboard. They asked that the dashboard graph, they said the dashboard graph needs to be larger. It only fits 10 cases per day. And maybe you can make it larger, fit 15 or 20 cases per day. They also asked to make sure the vaccine clinics are on the website and to make sure that the website is updated because they're saying that the data on the website is not updated and it needs to reflect when you're gonna have the vaccine clinics in the school district. Also, they asked, where is the testing program in the Groton district? I don't know, I didn't know the answer to that. Do you have a testing program?
No, we don't have testing in the schools. We do give parents the information on where they can get the testing and where it's still free of charge.
Okay, and that's all I have.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Kim, can I just mention that the number of cases shown on the graph is 20. That's the highest number on the dashboard.
Thank you.
It wasn't 10.
Okay.
And we've been trying to communicate, almost I feel like overly communicate. We've had 8 vaccination clinics at Fitch to date. We had 6 additional pediatric vaccination clinics at the 5 elementary and the 1 middle school. They will be coming back, I think, over the holidays, and I'll make sure that we put it out loud and clear so families will know about the vaccination clinic. And we probably will have another one after that. So just like we did at Fitch, I kind of have it repeated month to month until we feel like families have really had access to it. So thank you for that information.
Well, thank you, Superintendent.
Just a quick note that I know that some of those clinics filled so quickly based on the email that there wouldn't have even been time to post them on the website.
That's
So-
true, but sometimes we do find that people don't show, so still people can come in.
Okay.
And that's what they did even at the elementaries, that they didn't have to sign up, that they could just walk in.
Oh, okay, I didn't
And we
know
were
that.
able to manage them, but you're right, as we went
Because
through
I
it,
tried to sign one up and it was within hours, it had already filled.
I know, but then we were finding that it did open up again.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if that was people,
People canceled.
canceled, yeah. So kind of keep trying with those things, I guess.
Rita?
Yes, I'd like to welcome all the board members and congratulate them on their elections. And wish everybody happy the holiday season. I hope everything is wonderful. But my concern this is for Susan, is that you gave us our data on suspensions in school and out of school. To me, they seem quite high, and I was wondering if we could have a discussion at a COW meeting about them.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to add that to our agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Jay?
Well, I second Liz and Rita in welcoming the new board members, new and old. Yep, returning, yep. Looking forward to working with you all.
Katrina?
I've got a lot. Just a moment.
All right.
Okay. I went to the CAVE conference that a lot of us attended. I also attended the new board member orientation and brought back lots of information that I think might not only be, has not only been helpful to me, but maybe some of our older members to refocus. I don't know what committee to send. I'd like to look at our bylaws so that we can get this committing referrals down on paper and come to a conclusion on that.
I'm not quite sure if I'm following you.
There's been discussion about how to accept referrals and to send them to committees.
Right.
We will have to open our bylaws to look at that, or a 900 series,
Yeah.
whatever it would be.
Yep.
I don't know what committee we would examine that, or if we would need an ad hoc committee to do that, or if there's already one in progress.
So we actually do have an ad hoc committee already in progress looking at the 9,000. And do you remember off the top of
No,
your
I
head?
sent it to you. I don't remember.
Okay,
I sent you-
I looked for
I
it,
don't
Liz, and
remember
I
seeing
couldn't find it.
Okay, then I'll resend it to you. But Andrea and I are the ad hoc committee, and I'll go back and see what I can find. And I don't, honestly, Andrea, do you remember working on the referral process?
No.
Okay, and so we still are meeting. So we'll look at that. Okay.
I also know, Katrina, I'm thinking more about that actually because of a comment that Dean had stated a while ago about the fact that this is actually the meeting, make sure I understand you correctly, is that this is the meeting that we actually send our agenda items to the different things, because this is our regular board meeting. What came to me in the dead of night, and literally in the dead of night, is that we moved it to the committee of the whole because this meeting got so cumbersome and so long, and so that's why we did what we were doing. But I would like to institute us coming back to, because it makes, I mean, once you said it, it's logical. You have a regular Board of Ed meeting and things come up and you send them out to a committee.
So I think that needs more conversation.
Yep.
Okay. Susan, in your next board notes, can you update us on this? I think it's called Student Voices, the 20K from the state, and what's going on with that?
So they filled up so fast that they're gonna do one first cohort, and then those of us who've signed up, I think they're gonna be opening it up for the next cohort, but I will double check with the state what the time frame
And
is
just a
on that.
brief description, maybe 2 or 3 sentences on what that is.
Okay,
Before committees are formed, could we get a short paragraph for what each committee's responsibilities are to give people a better sense of what they're getting into?
So that's my typical practice
Okay.
is that when I send out an email, these are like, this is what's from our 9,000 series. This is what each of the committees say.
Great. I think I'll end here. Maybe I'll do the rest of them next time.
Well, she's back.
Oh, I do want to mention this. I am a member of the town DEI committee, so if there's conversation about getting people together, I'd like to involve in that.
good, yeah. I just think it makes sense. We did get together, I think, over the summer, but I think we should periodically put it in the schedule for kind of like the
Yeah.
liaison meeting
Makes sense.
to partner.
Awesome.
Okay,
Matthew.
At its November meeting, the Groton Public Libraries Advisory Board greenlighted the process of crafting a path to attract one or several Groton High School students, possibly also the other high schools in the town of Groton, to serve as non-voting representatives on the board. I think they might have seen what the Board of Education did and actually liked it. This Wednesday's meeting agenda will include further discussion on the proposed student rep scope of work and the draft application process. Changing topics. The advisory board is also looking forward to eventual initiation of the proposed system to allow students to access borrowing and support services from the Groton Public Library using their Groton School District ID cards and this was added with the hope that these initiatives may lead to further shared services to benefit Groton. That's it.
That's really cool.
That's the one part that we've been
That's
talking
cool.
about.
Yeah.
They're ready.
And I think we're getting close to being
We are.
ready.
yeah.
So that's great. Andrea.
I just want to say what everybody else said. So that's part of my feedback is that what everybody else said, I feel strongly about too. And I see this as a strong, caring board. And I think that the conversations that we are going to have are going to be rich and absolutely student-centered. So welcome to everybody, and we welcome to everybody. And the biggest thing, joy that I had tonight was to nominate Katrina. Thank you. And one other thing is Dr. Martin Luther King Ecumenical Service will be on Sunday of Dr. King's weekend. It'll be at 3 o'clock and it will be virtual.
So I'll make sure that I get the information from you to put in board notes as a reminder for everybody and put it out there with the Zoom link attached, so you'll have it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a wonderful service. I can't wait for the day that we can go back in person.
Oh, yes.
Would that be on his birthday? Or?
It's that Sunday. It's either the 16th or the 17th.
So my first thing is I just wanted to say thank you all for your vote of confidence in me for giving you another year as a chair, and I take that seriously, and I take that humbly, and I am honored to serve as a chair of this board. So I just wanted to say thank you about that. This is sort of on the same lines of your conversation, Katrina, about subcommittees. I just think that there's a couple subcommittees that we might want to be thinking about. Once again, we're doing a lot more of the social media stuff and communication, and I just think it would be nice to kind of revive that committee. And I'm going to ask Rita and Bev, at one point, we did have a communications subcommittee, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I just think that it might make sense for us to kind of put that back into our fold, and then maybe come up with some charges around that. So I'm actually thinking about throwing that into a committee of the whole meeting relatively quickly, so that we can then get the committee assignments and get the work of the board
Just when I
done.
put my pen away, I'm gonna add that.
Yeah, see.
Too fast.
And so just before we go into whether we have other referral items that we need to handle, please look at our calendar. It is very busy in January. And also we're going to have that public hearing, which is January 18th. So that's a Monday. So Martin Luther King is on the 17th. So just to kind of remind you to give the heads up. We have in the past had a meeting with the town council and the RTM. That was something that we started a couple of years ago. And so anticipate that that's going to be hopefully that will be somewhere in the mix. I don't know if the other bodies would like to do that or not.
Is that this one, Kim, or it says January 5th? down at the bottom?
No, that's that liaison, which is that's not a time period, that's working, that's a working committee.
Okay.
In the past, Liz, that's a really good question. In the past, and Rita, I think it's been kind of forever. And Bev, please also weigh in on this if you would like, is we've met with the town council to hear about sort of what they're thinking what they need from us on a budgetary experience. And I, a couple of years ago with Patrice and Sima, we combined all bodies and to be together. And so obviously we probably have to be in virtual. So just keep mark on those dates. And now we're down for agenda items. And so I have an agenda item that needs to go to the committee of the whole, but I forgot to write the topic.
So I have a couple. So we want to talk about behavioral data expulsion, suspension.
That's what it was.
Proactive measures that we're using and how these are being handled. We also wanted to talk about the school calendar in the COW. And
then policy,
I'll
we're going to
update
bring
you on student voices in my update, and also on, we'll look at the quarantining and the cases.
Yep.
And how those are outlined, and I'll share that new link with you.
And then also the policy is going back to policy.
And policy is going back to policy.
Dean.
Right, so Katrina anticipated one of the things I was going to mention, which is a formal, we discussed it before, formal discussion of just exactly how does business move around. This is a general critique you sometimes hear with respect to governmental bodies. I remember hearing this many years ago with respect to the council and how it worked with a then town manager many years ago, that who generates the business? Is it the council that generates its own business, or is it the town manager running his own agenda, that kind of a thing? That's true up to a point. It's not as though there's a vacuum and the board has nothing to do until Susan comes up with things for us to think about. There's already a lot of things that come at us.
Mostly I'm taking notes from you though.
If we did nothing, the agenda makes itself basically. But I think it is worthwhile to once in a while sit down and say, how does the business move around? I have not heard anybody say, hey, how can you generate business in your committees? Strictly speaking, by Roberts, what you said is correct, that the board would refer business to the committees. That said, the committee of the whole is a standing committee, the finance committee is a standing, curriculum policy, these are all standing committees. And they have probably an unwritten remit to deal with their business. And it might be too cumbersome for the board to specifically refer things, it can, but to specifically refer things to the committees, otherwise they don't operate. We seem to be okay with that, but we can go one of two ways. Either everything originates from the board to the cow or the other committees, or the committees have a remit to generate their own topics, if you will. Whatever that is, whatever we come to, I think we should probably just have a specific policy on that, how business is generated and where does it go. The other thing I wanted to bring up had to do with communications. Again, this has been touched on. The most recent incident at the high school generated a call from the principal who said basically the bare minimum, what he felt was prudent to say, that there was somebody on campus who shouldn't have been there, he wasn't in the building, it was taken care of, nothing to worry about. Some parents have expressed a concern to me that they wanted more information, especially in the wake of what happened at NFA. So it's a balance. Either you say nothing or you tell the entire lurid tale of whatever it is. And there's a balance in the middle that's never, whatever you strike is never going to please everybody. So you're kind of guessing what would be the appropriate balance that satisfies most parents. It sounded to me like people wanted a little more information, not just something happened and we took care of it. I'm not blaming the administration. I'm just saying that the administration has struck a balance, and some parents at least would like a little more information. Of course, Principal Kelleher said they're welcome to contact me. I can't go down a list of what didn't happen and what we didn't find. You know, we didn't find a weapon, we didn't find a chainsaw, we didn't, that kind of
Found a
thing.
kid sleeping in the car.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I don't think people want to
shouldn't
know
have been
who it was. I don't think they want a lot of details, but they seem to want a little more detail.
So I think he did respond because he sensed that the kids were still nervous. So he did make a couple announcements.
Right.
And then I think he did send a follow-up message to families. So, I think as you're going through sometimes these emergencies that you're really not so sure, what's happening, you're partnering with the police. And I have to big shout out to our police department and LJ Fasaro, who spent a few evenings, working through some of these things with us. So the partnering is really important. And sometimes when you have the police then come in to investigate, whether it's a person who shouldn't be on campus or anything, we really have to abide by their then investigation and giving out information as best we can, but without, giving any other descriptors.
Now, for example, if somebody, it's not a military base, it's not, like that, and we don't want it like that.
Right.
But I mean, anybody could basically drive up or walk up, run up to the cafeteria window while lunch is in session, make faces and then run away. Now, security will take care of this at some point. If they don't chase the person out, they'll pick them up. It sounded to me like parents would say, okay, so somebody was on campus that shouldn't have been there, and it was taken care of. They want to know a little more like, yeah, the person ran up, made faces in the window and then ran away, so that they're assured there wasn't anything more serious. Because when people hear security was involved or police was involved or it was all wrapped up, they don't know what to think anymore. Should they presume that we, quote, overreacted out of an abundance of caution, given the environment that we're in?
That's, I think. what
They
he
don't
had
know.
said.
Another thing is,
Yeah.
I don't know that everybody understands the distinction between a situation where everybody stays in the building but otherwise carry on, which is what happened, or everybody stay in your classroom but carry on in the classroom. That's two different levels of
Well,
precaution.
and then there's total lockdown where you're in a corner.
Well,
and
yeah,
everything
right.
gets shut down.
Yeah, that one
And
people
that did not
understand,
happen.
but when people hear, well, the word isn't lockdown, it's something else. When people hear, well, we quote lockdown, but that means everybody just stays in the building. That sounds more serious than it really is. The kid's supposed to be in the building anyway, unless they're out on the field. So this leads me to a larger point that I want to make, again, probably for a referral to the cow, or maybe another committee, which
Yeah,
is,
that should probably be part
Yeah.
of the discussion that we have
So,
at the COW.
we all get one small thing, because I have heard people say, well, I contact the board, but I don't get a response or something like that. What happens quite often is people will contact individual board members if they remember the email or if they find the email, but there is a generic, I forget what it is. There's a generic email address people could use, and that would distribute that message to all the board members, because people will say, well, I got a message. Well, I didn't. Why didn't I?
Yeah.
But because they named Jay, they named Liz, they didn't name me. So
I think we added that link right on the website.
Okay.
too.
All right. I mean, ultimately, it's up to the sender to,
Right.
use the appropriate email. But when we get as board members, individual requests, okay, we can talk to the person. This gets to the question of, are we 9 people, a board of 9 people, or 9 people that happen to be a board? So, are we pure conduits? So if somebody says, hey, I need to talk to you about something, and I automatically pass it on to Susan. So Susan's now dealing with 9 people. Do we filter some things? Do we just use our judgment? How is this working? Again, so should we just say, nope, no one's talking except Kim. Kim's the chair, everything goes through Kim. Kim will respond. That's kind of an extreme position. I think people want to hear from individual board members, but how loose should we be in communicating with the public? That's 1. 2, policy with respect to administration, communicating with parents. Again, how much information should we give out? Should we juice it up? Not juice it up, but I mean, should we provide a little more detail without revealing how we handle security, without revealing identities of minors, so that people get a better understanding of what's going on, should there be an incident, so they feel better. Seems to be people are looking just a little bit more. That, I think, I don't know if this can ultimately be nailed down into a concrete policy or some sort of action item. Last thing. We have a great tendency here and everywhere else to focus on what's ailing. What are the problems? What are the usual whack-a-mole that we do? Whether it's a student performance or the facilities or whatnot. And I'm thinking, what? Once in a while, not to have happy talk all the time, artificial happy talk all the time. Find a thing that the school's doing. I don't care which school it is, but take the high school. We've got just the one that it's doing, or a couple of things that it's doing that are just out of the park, right? And we all talk about and we recognize the aluminum Falcons, okay? And we wish them well. I would like to see, and I don't mean to have that, robotics dominate, our district, but it would be kind of cool when people think Groton robotics or Groton something, the way you think Stowe skiing, that sort of thing. So take that, it's already good, push it. So I would like to be in closer communication with, I know the high school component of it, the aluminum Falcons are, I'm not gonna say they run on their own. They've got sponsors, they've got a space now for as long as they can have many more. So, but I don't think we have an established theater. We sometimes have a middle school program that would ease them into robotics in high school, and sometimes we don't. Never mind the elementary schools. I would like to have a closer cooperation with them, ask them what they want, what can we do for them? Space, time, money, people. We'll see if we can accommodate them. I'm thinking, take something that we do great and make it the star on top of the tree, if you will. Okay, and push that one. I think that could be an engine to drive a lot of other things. People will say, damn it, we do something really great. We could do another thing really great, whatever that is. And I don't care whether it's robotics, a swim team, football, something academic, it doesn't matter to me. But we already have that. Let's go. Let's run with that. So.
Well, I did try to stress that getting the second national blue ribbon in 5 years was quite an accomplishment. And that was the district-wide accomplishment.
Yep.
For all kinds of reasons, closing an achievement gap and military children that are transient. So there are things that I agree that you need to highlight, because even during these COVID times when things are stressful and we're like playing whack-a-mole, like you said, it's good to hear, well, what is going right with the schools?
Yeah, I think you take that one, be active with it. Sorry, I'll let it share.
That would probably be a.
One
really-
second, Rita, I got Liz talking and then I'll recognize you.
Sorry. I think that is a perfect example of how the communications subcommittee can be very, very proactive.
Right.
And I think that's a wonderful thing, okay? After, I do have something I forgot to mention earlier, that would be a referral to the finance and facilities. You want me to go now?
Please do.
Okay, I received a communique, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you this, from the principal at Sacred Heart. And she would like, there is a program, a state program about textbook loaning. I don't remember the whole thing, but she sent me a document, and I would like the finance and facilities to look at what this textbook loan or program is. that's part of the state program. And so I want us to investigate that, our finance and facilities.
Now, does she want to do this loaning? Does she want?
She wants us to be able to loan to the Groton Public School, the Groton students that are within her school. Her school is 100 and some odd kids. The thing is that this is a program comes down from the state, a directive from the state about supporting Groton students that go to private schools within Groton, not within another district, but within Groton. So she sent me the document and the directive number, the order. So I wanted to give that. I think that's a referral that we need to go into finance and facilities.
I would want to make sure that the superintendent takes a look at it first.
All right, then I will send it. I will forward it to you, Susan.
And then you and I can talk about where it needs to be referred.
I meant to.
I can
say
get more
that earlier.
details about it too at the State Department.
Yeah, okay,
That's
so I will send it to you and then go from there. Thank you, that's all I have.
Rita.
Yes, I wanted to address something that Dean was talking about. At one time, we held our committee of the whole meetings. Well, we used to have one, not two, at a different school. And the school at the time would present, whether it was the students would do a little performance, or maybe it was, I remember Charles Barnum one time, it was about the computer work they were doing. So, I know we've gotten away from that, and because of the pandemic, it probably won't be coming back right away. But holding the meetings at a different school was really wonderful. So, then we focused on a particular school, and then they shared with us something special they were doing. And it was great to see students, and not just the 2 high school students that come to our board meetings, but a lot of different students. So hopefully we can get back to that when things get back to normal.
That was about 20 years ago.
No, it was in my lifetime.
And
Well,
even in
I
my
remember
career,
it.
at the beginning of, Mike and I had that happening in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think people were getting lost, like people weren't getting to the COW. There was some confusion.
Well, once in a while, they wouldn't know exactly where we were, but they can't speak at a COW anyway. It
Right.
was, but we held our board meetings always in the same place. Yeah, that's all. But I agree, it'd be great to focus on the positive.
Yeah. I'm laughing just because sometimes I think that we talk about all the positive things that are going on, and sometimes we get snuck up on because we don't hear all the stuff that's not happening. So I'm laughing, kind of going, okay, so there's also got to be a balance around that. But we got some really good things going. Some of the stuff I think I would love to have us do in a retreat, because I just think that just is a time when we can have a little bit more freedom around how we talk about things. So maybe just the business of the board, like how do we do that? It feels like that would make a lot of sense, but let me think about that and get back to you all.
And it's going to be hard to figure out a COW because we just canceled our COW because we have all these budget workshops.
But we might
We
need
have
to
a lot
bring
of
that one
meetings,
back.
but we'll
But
figure it out.
we might need to. Do you have a?
I do. I took some time to read our emergency plan based on what's happened in our country all over the place recently and not so recently. And I'd like to know if somebody could let me know when the last time this plan was reviewed and the processes by which further review might be considered. There are some evolution in the problems that schools face that are not reflected in the plan, in my opinion.
So I would turn that over to Sam. He actually runs the Safe School team, and they do it annually to upgrade every single one.
So we're not going to answer the question tonight. That's just a referral.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a referral.
Right.
And I'd be glad to meet Sam if you'd like me to. Whatever you want.
Yeah,
I think finance and facilities is where it would go.
Yeah.
Your agendas are getting full, Jeff. The agendas are huge.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hi, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye.